Hey, welcome back to the weekly recap of fractal trading. Really excited to talk about the markets again. We are seeing some quite interesting developments in world currencies as well as indices, and the metals are interesting as well. When we take a look at the weekly S&P chart here, the CFD, again we can see it's doing just one thing. It's breaking out to the upside. The election has led to this crazy bar right here. We did not enter a bigger correction mode. As you can see in the oscillator, there is no move below the zero line. That means we are still up, and it's overall it's a bullish sentiment, I would say. I'm not looking especially at sentiment, but the momentum is gaining speed again. Prices are up, the breakouts are taken. We are closing well above the breakout level as well. And even though the monthly is still in the mode where it could show us a divergence, on Wednesday next week we get the am I right on this? Yes, Thursday next week actually we are getting the new month, so this candle will close, which means we see a candle close very strong outside the balance zone, and this could actually send prices higher. We are following the market. Please remember what I said in the past couple of weeks. There is a divergence forming down here. It's a negative divergence which could send prices lower, but we are following price action primarily, and that means we are long in this market, and long term of course we are not looking at the short term. We want to follow price action wherever it moves. It does not matter to us if it makes sense or not, or if your fundamental analysis tells you that it doesn't make sense. We are following pure price action, and all the balance zone and the fractals do is mark some important levels where we find supply and demand, and we trade off those levels. Some candle formations, pin bars for example, or other candlestick formations can really help to get an idea where the market is interesting and where you should enter a position. We see a lot of positive development in the US indices the past week. The Australian ASX is also all the way up there, but what we do also observe is Europe not following this action. The DAX, the Euro stocks, even the FTSE, they really have some trouble getting out there, not breaking out or failing to break out. The FTSE is actually still in that, or still feeding off this supply zone that was marked a couple of weeks ago. Up here it was a nice short down into the balance zone, but now we don't really know what this thing is doing. It might as well have created a breakout fractal to the downside and following through into the next demand. But let's see about that. We don't know. We have indices diverging all over the place, even though the Nikkei is also following America being up there with a successful breakout. If we take a look at the British pound pairs, we have been focusing on the British pound Australian, so let's pull that up. We can see that we have all those breakouts. The weekly trend is running. We had some positive couple of last weeks which sent price into the balance zone, but the last week is closing right in between those two resistance zones. Now they are resistance. Previously they were support, and we were selling at those zones. We are now trading right on top of them, in between them, and we are actually expecting further down move. Now it doesn't mean it will happen next week. It doesn't mean that it's going to go very fast. All it means is that it's most likely to happen, probability on our side. We are not sure how it's going to happen, if it's going to be choppy or if it's going to be straight away, and we don't know how far it goes. I have been mentioning the past demand zone in this previous low area here at 140, 145, and we might be hitting that, but that will be a long time until then. You're really gonna be satisfied in a way with this kind of trading approach. The US dollar is also a very interesting market to follow. We have some forex pairs where we can follow this market, and we're pulling up the US dollar yen, and as you can see, after I've been talking about those breakout levels, we have been taking them, and we have the past couple of 3 weeks moving up really quickly, really rapid. We see momentum turning right away, and we just want to be long in this now. The latest breakout entry was right there. The first one was here, even though the election in America might have pulled you out of this, depending on where your stop was, but no worries, you will re-enter on this fractal, and now we're long. Last week I was talking about this market could be turning, could be pulling back before it keeps heading to the next supply zone. Anyhow, this week was just as strong as the previous one. We didn't close as high, but still we see price action extremely bullish in the US dollar yen. The US dollar Canadian is not quite as bullish, but still moving to the upside. US dollar index is trading pretty much at its highs. There's a divergence forming there. We'll go into it next week, but it's still a long position. We don't know where the trend will end, so let's just follow it. Euro US dollar here. The current week that we were seeing did not do much, but we are staying right at the lows of what has happened in the previous 2 weeks. There's no pulling back to the alligator, to the balance zone right now. We are trading on top of the next support. We are assuming a continuation of the overall trend, which we find always on the monthly chart, and not pulling back to the balance zone is actually quite a good idea, or quite a good scenario, since it means that we want to be where we are. If we see a lot of pullbacks, a lot of wicks in the candles themselves, what the market is telling us is that it's always bouncing back from where it has been, and it doesn't want to be I'm sorry, where it's been in the past. So this is not what we see in the euro. We see prices at the end of the month. Let's see on Thursday, where we are at the open, that this market wants to go down. We have fractals indicating new breakout levels. We are heading right towards them in the month of November, I'm sorry, and we might as well as approach these 180, 185 target zones down here. Let's wait and see if that is really what's gonna happen. Talking about gold is quite painful here this week. We have been saying that there is a trend, there's a correction, now there's an impulsive move with your first breakout into the previous trend direction, which was upwards. Now this month is so far pretty low. We are below the balance zone. We are not bouncing back at that area, at that level here. Even on the weekly, we can see that the previous fractal area is pretty much ignored. When we draw a rectangle here, which is the previous demand zone, we are closing well below it. If we don't see a turnaround in the next 1 or 2 weeks, we will probably not have a lot of a chance that this up move that we have, this impulsive move that was seen here, will easily be continued. Let's really wait and see what's gonna happen. I'm not involved in gold right now. We'll just follow the market, and right now it's not showing anything worthy that could lead to a stable or reliable trend. Even if this starts trending now, we already have the next target zone down here. So let's wait and see if this is really gonna go. What is more satisfying than gold is the New Zealand and the Australian dollar, and they are breaking out. The past week was a little bit more bullish, but still we are breaking out, no heavy pullbacks, and I'm thinking new lows right down here. The same scenario is true for the Australian dollar. So quite a lot of breakouts, quite a lot of trend possibilities in world markets this week, starting of course way before that and into the end of the year. We should be holding on to quite a lot of positions when it comes to long-term trend following, and we'll just see how it works out. 2016 has been kind of a mixed year. We didn't get too many moves, not in the indices. We didn't get some in gold, but currencies were also not the most thankful. First we see the US dollar going down quite a bit. Now it's shooting up. It's a little bit difficult to trade that. really depends on your system, but when you look at the top hedge fund performance, the people who are really following the markets, who are doing this whole trend following concept, they have also not performed that well. And of course this also relates to the general kind of atmosphere or supply and demand uh, strength in the markets, and therefore we will see how these breakouts work out towards the end of the year, and then wait for 2017, hold on to everything that works and quit everything that doesn't work, control our risk, and then follow what the market offers. If we always do that, we will make sure that when the market is in a better condition, in a different market phase, maybe in 2017 we'll see the New Zealand dollar, the Australian dollar really moving down. That will be nice trends. There's a lot of money to be made there, just like in the British pound right now, and that will make our money. We are only here to wait for the market and to see what the market has to offer for us, and we take the opportunity. We are not pressing our opinions or our thoughts and our likings for a position opening into any market. We are waiting for the markets to unfold, and then we'll see where it goes. Thanks for watching, and see you next week.